This park is really remarkable because it not only has a large area, but it also has varied habitat. There's an unbroken forest, at least it used to be an unbroken forest until they started timbering. I know that in my last 16 years being here, the board of directors in the park has stayed rather stationary, I'll say.
There's two things. They log and they pesticide. That's what they do. And it hasn't changed. That's what they did when we protested a long time ago. So there's no room for any sort of conversation and discussion if you have a difference of opinions. It's their way or the highway.
They're starting at a point where they're not wrong that the forest is in crisis because we have too many white-tailed deer. And that's a problem all up and down the East Coast. So these deer stop the regeneration of the forest by eating small trees. And it's a real problem. And I'm not going to disagree with their starting point, but their strategy for dealing with it has been to do large timbering operations, put up fences, and try and grow the trees from scratch, start over. And they make a good argument in their documents, and they make a good argument in presentation, but when you get out and look at the results, we have just a flood of invasive plants filling in where our native forest should be by disturbing the soil. And just look, the way they've done this in a very heavy-handed manner, and the results have not been what they want, but they continue to go forward. There's money associated with timber harvesting, and I think it's probably good for their operations to be funded. And that isn't their stated goal, but that's a piece of it.
I use this park many days a week. I live here in Mount Gretna, and right out my front door, and I love it. It's beautiful all times of year. I love watching the seasons change, and this is where I get my exercise. So now we're coming up on the clear cut, and it's a real stark contrast. You're kind of hiking through the shaded mature forest cover, and then the sunlight just blinds you when you hit this spot. In the summer, you kind of get from the cool and the comfortable of the shade, and you could really feel the sun baking down in this section. The trail that cuts up through here used to be a little shortcut to the tower through the woods. Now it's a shortcut through really nothing but weeds. So this one is really concerning. This is mile-a-minute weed here, and it's starting to grow up here at the edge of the clear cut, and it's aptly named. This thing will spread very, very fast. You can see here in the start of the fall, it's starting to go to seed, so that means we'll see a lot more of it next year. And it grows aggressively over every plant in this path. You can see it choking out this fernweed plant and it's growing up and over some of the woody plants and shrubs. You try to plant a young sapling in here, and if you don't control the mile-minute weed, it'll just grow up over it like a creeping vine and take it right down to the ground. This is invasive species from Asia that was introduced to Pennsylvania several decades ago and got released to the wild, and it's a real problem in these areas. This is Japanese stilt grass. So this is also an invasive species from Asia. It's very aggressive growing. It grows in this carpet, this mat on the floor. It spreads very quickly, and you see it here kind of at the edge of the clear cut, really starting to overwhelm the edge, and you see it too in some of the deeper parts of the clearer cut. So between the mile-minute weed and the Japanese stilt grass, you're going to have to contend with some real serious invasive species here. This is a very steep slope, and it's really rocky, and there's not a lot of soil depth in most of the area. This is going to be a really tough place to reestablish a forest or to reestablish, even a native meadow. So between contending with the weeds and the slope and the rocky soil, it's going to be tough to return this to the kind of forest Clarence Schock envisioned in the deed for Governor Dick.
People like Ryan and others that are trying to get the board to listen more carefully, I think they're doing a good job at raising awareness.
We will continue to advocate for an independent review of the forest stewardship to ensure the park is doing the best it can for the health of the forest. And we will continue to advocate for reform of this board of directors that expand to include members of the park's various user groups that may better represent the community it serves. You may see the Friends of Governor Dick as an adversary because we're at odds over some issues. But I hope you can also see us as an asset. As we expand in membership, it's a headcount of people concerned for the future of this park who are willing to do something about it, be it push for reform, pull out invasive plants, volunteer time, run your fundraisers, or support the programs. Our hope is that we can work together to work out our differences and work together in support of this park we all love. Thank you.
There's one thing the board really hates, and that is having people show up at their meetings. It's going to be a tough fight, and the problem with it is they have time on their side, and it's so easy. Like with the 5 of us, after a while we got worn out. We were just tired of it, and I think Ryan can identify with that. It's so much energy to keep fighting, and after a while but the stakes are so much higher this time. That's how I see it. We don't have time on our side. I don't mean to sound like the prophet of doom, but we need those trees. We need a good, healthy forest in Governor Dick. It is the future. It's your future. It's to combat climate change. It's worth fighting for.
park was doing. Maybe their heart's in the right place, but functionally it wasn't working out that well, and they didn't want to hear input from other people. So we formed this 501c3 nonprofit to try and make a difference. And I gotta tell you, things are really changing in a good direction. We're taking steps in the right direction. Just in the past year, so much has improved. Round of applause for everybody here. Showing up to these events, showing up and showing that there's a community support for things being different has made things different. We love this park. If we don't have to fight what they're doing, we want to support what they're doing. If they're doing good things into the future, going forward, if we don't have to tie ourselves to trees before they cut them down, which we haven't done yet, thank God. But, we want to be out there just supporting this place because, it's our place, it's our forest, and we want to help it out. So it's like, it really is our job, and they've, had this in their heart all along, but, they're doing it better now, and we're not going to fight them this time, and we want to support them when they're doing good things.
I think that when you experience something like being in the forest in its glory on a summer's day when all the life is just so evident, you know that it's special. You know that you're somewhere, I'm not going to use the word sacred, but maybe you're somewhere sacred, that, there's life here. And the forest is more than just the trees. And I think a lot of people coming and experiencing that, it's just evident, and it's that shared experience, I think, is part of what's driving this movement for change, that we know we have something here it's not just pretty, but it's just like, it's important. It's it's amazing to see just creation, all the buzz and all the Twitter, and just thriving, just life.